Guys, welcome to Orbital Racing's Inside the Race. This is a new series that we're putting on to take you inside the Orbital Crit Series that we host here in Dayton, Ohio. So one of the cool things about this Orbital Crit Series, for one, is that it's a grassroots level series, and it's 8 races long, and it starts in May and goes all the way through August. So it provides opportunities for various levels of riders. So the serious riders as training crits for some of the bigger one-day races. But we also have other guys who are coming out for their very first ever crit race. And some of these guys are actually really strong riders. They just have never, never raced in a crit before. And this provides them an opportunity, a low pressure opportunity to come in and just see what it's all about. And all the guys that we've had do that so far have loved it. They've gotten hooked on it right away, and they've started to come back. So we thought that was really cool. You'll see an example of that in this race, actually, with what's his name?
Anthony Vita.
Anthony Vita. Really strong rider. He came super early, so I got to talk to him in the parking lot a little bit. And I looked at him and I was like, "You're one of these guys who's never raced before, but you're going to come out here and kill everybody, aren't you?" He just kind of laughed and said, "I have no idea. I've never done this before." But I bring this up because you can see him try to go off the front in the very beginning of the race. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the race footage, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So one thing right up front on this race that surprised me was how hard we went right off the bat for a 4-5 race. We really were cranking out, some pretty good watts here for the first several laps. So I just kind of my goal in this race was really to stay roughly, in the front third of the pack, but kind of conserve my energy. I did some good training over the winter and tried to stay in shape, but then right as we came up to race season, injured myself playing soccer. So not to make any excuses, but
Again, you were
I had a pretty bad injury. I was in a boot, immobilized, no weight bearing, that sort of thing for a good 2 months. So I'm actually in physical therapy now, trying to rehab my foot, and this is my first race of the season.
This is also rehab for you,
Yeah. My foot started feeling pretty good, so I was pretty excited to actually get in there and mix it up, and my goal here was kind of just to get some good race footage, but also to test my fitness. And as you can see, as we come down this back stretch,
front stretch.
We're
front stretch. You guys are about to come through the line here.
Yeah.
Because you guys were flying.
Yeah.
It was, as I was standing there trying to take I could not take anybody's number because you guys were going so fast through there. I just went, okay, Peloton, that was it. And I grabbed the stragglers.
Yeah. Katie's the race director for this race series, and for this one, since I was in the race, she was trying to help out the referee with scoring.
This was probably the hardest one to score, simply because you guys were going so fast.
Yeah, it got strung out really early. What you saw early on was, the guy who had never raced before, Anthony going really hard off the front, and then us trying to follow. So it started out really strong, strung out the pack, and I was just kind of trying to hang on at this point.
Yeah, but in front of you here, you've got 3 brilliant advice guys who are super strong. I think one of them is Sean Bullock, who's won multiple of our races, and he does the 4-5 and he'll do the 3-4. But you guys started off really strong, and now Anthony's cracking.
Yeah, and this is a key part, because what you saw was Sean Martin up there in the front in the yellow kit, really strong rider, and what he did was just he kept up until he saw some fatigue, and then he just rides off the front. So he followed Anthony, and as soon as he had a chance, he went, and then nobody was closing down the gap. There was a gap that opened up, and I think
Yeah. By the second lap when you guys came through onto the third, you guys had already broken up. So Sean had gone way off the front, as you can see. And so then you guys came through with a pack of around 9, and then there was a good gap, and then there was a pack of like 8, and then there was the stragglers off the back.
right.
And so unfortunately though, because we had 25, 26 racers, ultimately the official decided that he was going to start pulling stragglers, so that there weren't multiple laps and stuff.
Yeah,
So even at this point, we started getting the far stragglers, and Sean then was so far off the front
yeah.
that
Sean Martin.
It was nuts how far off the front he was.
Yeah, he just kind of crushed us. And pulling stragglers is not something that we normally do in this, because we want everybody to be able to get their full race. But I think it was just because it was a decent sized field and the ref was working alone. He made kind of the game day decision to pull stragglers in this race to make it easier to score. But yeah, Sean Martin's gone, so we have him off the front, and then we have a group 1, and then we have group 2, which is quite a bit further back.
Yeah, so group 1 here's you guys fluctuated between 8 and 9 riders, because you had some that would either bridge the gap, or you had a guy who dropped off the back. And I mean, obviously you see here those Brilliant Advice guys working together. You see the elbow nudges, looking to pull. And
here's Anthony back in front of me, trying to close this. You can start seeing the front group kind of like gaps opening up here and there. And you'll see me start to struggle. I burnt a lot of matches early on. My fitness just wasn't quite there, so I can't remember how many laps I stuck with this group, but then I finally decided to kind of...
It was about like...
I think it was 5 laps, yeah, and then I eased up and went back and started riding with the second group, which was good because then we got some footage of both groups. So
I got a lot of dog tired faces at me. You made a lot of faces at me. I love that the juniors are out there watching you guys.
Oh yeah, it was great having the kids out there cheer us on. They were trying to tell us like what position we're in and all this stuff.
They have no idea either. They're just,
Yeah.
Oh, and who's some of the Queen City Wheels guys just popped in front of you. Good call.
We apologize if we get if we mistake riders. It's hard to tell from some of these angles. I'm trying to see what his number was.
I think that's Brian. Garum in front of you. Yeah, because he was the only one with 23.
Yeah, 23. Yeah, so, and you'll notice on this one, they like eased up. I really don't like to slow down going through the corners, so I tried to go around the outside, and it's one tactic you can use to get a bunch of spots up is just to flow through those corners and not slow down, because that's really all I did right there. And then here goes Anthony on the front again, starting to push the pace.
So it's a great loop, right? It's 0.7 kilometers.
0.7 miles.
Miles.
Yeah.
0.7 miles, and which is about 1.1 kilometers, and like it's just a great loop. We don't really worry a lot about traffic, or we don't have to worry about traffic and stuff. And it's been awesome. The guys talk about the little turn here, right? That's you got to have some really good turning tactics there.
Here I am getting gapped. I'm obviously starting to feel it a little bit, but I think I like hang out here for a second and I'm like trying to make a decision. I see them kind of slowing down, and I know at this point I can catch back up, so I go ahead and put in the effort. I know there would be a little bit of a slowdown at this turn coming up here, so I think I stick with him on this lap.
Yeah.
But I think this might be the last lap that I hang out with this group. Oh, yeah, we're passing our first lap to rider.
Yep.
And I mean, overall, my foot, the actual injury was feeling all right in this ride. It was just, and I have I have short interval.
Yeah.
I can go pretty fast on short intervals, but then I just lost a lot of the aerobic and anaerobic endurance that I used to have. So here I am.
You just cracked.
Sitting up.
You cracked.
No, I just wanted to go back and film the other group.
No.
That's all. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I lost track of how big the group was. So when I came off the back here, I honestly thought my race was over. You see me completely sitting up here.
Well, they can't see you. You completely sit up here.
Yeah, well, you can tell by
yeah.
power and how slow I'm going and stuff. I just kind of sit up here. I thought that was the group. And as I get up here, you actually see me like pull off a little bit. But then I look back and I see, oh yeah, there is another group, you know? So let's just let this play out here.
There's the boys.
There's the boys trying to cheer me on.
There's our son cheering you on.
Yeah, Sam was out there too. He was trying
Well, no, and did you see Andrew dancing? He's
yeah,
going,
yeah,
go,
he's
Dad!
So I pull off a little bit and then I'm like, oh, here's the second group. I'm just going to jump in with them. My race is not over yet.
Tell you, if I could ever find out whose blue car that was.
Yeah, somebody came and parked there before we ever got the races started and disappeared.
Yeah.
So here's group number 2. We got several of the Queen City guys in this group. We got the Ride for IBD guy. This is
John Hardisky.
John Hardisky.
Yeah. We had our first time out of stater in this. Craig Thompson, him and his son were in town for Hyde Park, and they decided, hey, we're gonna come check out the Orbital Crit Series. Why not?
Yep.
And so he was a really strong. He was a strong rider. I mean, we always joke about riders' calves and stuff, and like he had.
You'll see his
He
legs.
has insane legs, like.
He looks like a track sprinter or a power lifter. You can see him right there. A couple of riders up. He's got some seriously powerful looking legs.
His son blew away the juniors.
Oh yeah, he was older.
He was older, but I mean that kid obviously had been riding for years. But yeah, he blew away the juniors.
Yeah, actually his son tried riding in this race with us and hung in there for a little while, but because the folks who fell off the back were getting pulled, he ended up getting pulled.
So when we talk about being pulled, right? So the official and I told them you got one lap to go, and then they sprinted into the finish line, so that gave them placement. So it wasn't like we gave them DNFs that they didn't finish. We placed them. Now we did have guys who came by us and gave us the kill sign and said I'm out. But as we were quote pulling people, we gave them the opportunity to sprint for the finish, and that was the placement that they came in.
So in this group, I know we have Mark Gilmore, Queen City Wheels.
Brian caught up late towards the end. Brian Worley, he caught up late towards the end in this group.
Yeah, and eventually Pete Heitzman joins this group as well. I think Pete...
He dropped off the front group.
Pete rode really strong in this race. He was with the front group longer than I was.
Yeah.
And he did a good job in the end too.
And then you also got John Hardisky, you got Scott Weber. So So yeah, you're still riding with like these really, really strong guys. These Queen City Wheel guys are just...
Yeah, they ride well.
They ride really well. They love, you know, riding in crits and stuff. And
Mark Gilmore here was trying to get us organized, and
oh yeah,
you know, he was telling us, oh, so you saw that. That was me in that corner having a pedal strike. It's a pretty bad one. Fortunately, I stayed up. But yeah, here, I think.
Yeah, this is Gilmore.
I think that's
this
Gilmore.
Is Mark Gilmore, yeah.
Trying to get us organized, trying to tell us, hey, let's take short pulls. Don't, you know, nobody should be on the front for too long. Let's take turns so that we can keep a good pace here. So
I think that's one of the great things about our crit series is, yeah, guys like to win and stuff, right? It feels great to be the winner and whatever, but you're seeing a lot of the riding camaraderie kind of thing where you're pulling for each other and doing that kind of stuff. And then when you get down to the sprint finish, it's every man for himself.
yeah, all these guys are class acts. They're very nice. They're very respectful. They ride safely. No one wants to get hurt out here. So I really appreciate all the guys we have riding in our crit series.
For sure.
And again, it's just a great opportunity to come out, and if you've never raced before, just give it a go. I mean, there's no pressure out here. We're just all out here having fun, getting a great workout, getting training in, you know. And these sorts of rides really help for, you know, conditioning as you're in your race series, getting ready for the bigger, you know, your A category races. So it's a great opportunity throughout the whole season.
And we've had at least one or two guys get their categories, right? They've gone up in categories. So we had, I think it was last race that we did a video, our last race, one of our Pro 123 racers got his Cat 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got his Cat 1 points. Cat 2,
1.
he won the Cat 1 and he got his Cat 2.
Yeah, we've actually had some really good 1, 2, 3 races too.
Yeah. This last week, I was really bummed that we didn't have the 1, 2, 3 race, but that everyone was burnt from the big races. It was a weekend of racing, including High Park, which is arguably the biggest. The biggest crit in Ohio that brings in a lot of talent, a lot of 1, 2, 3s and pros as well. And I think it was a late night for a lot of those guys. They were out there, you know, that was their big race, and we didn't have enough. So yeah, you just kind of hung on
for
a while. You kind of rotated through the positions, and
I burnt a lot of matches, honestly, on that hanging out with the front group. Yeah, wish I was in better shape, but not so much yet. Hopefully I'll get back before the final season, before the season's completely over. But I did take one good pull. I think it's after
this, yeah, because you're second position right now.
Yeah, he pulls, and then I did a pretty good pull, and then another guy pulled through and actually went really hard right after I pulled, so I burned some more matches to get on his route.
Prove yourself. Here, yep, now you take your turn, you're pulling out front. It's a nice image of our course, a nice tour of the course, right? Tour de course.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice location because, as you can see, like, you know, it's very family friendly. Families can come out, you know, sit along the sideline there in the parking lot or over in the grass and kind of watch the races and cheer us on.
It's nice and safe because you're not dealing with traffic coming through.
We have music, and we typically have, you know, at least one food truck out there, so people can grab some food, and so.
Yeah, you slowed this way down.
I'm going 26 miles an hour.
Oh, you are?
I'm going
okay.
slow.
I don't know why it looks like you're going slow. Maybe the footage lagged there. Your cadence dropped though. So yeah, so who pulls ahead of you is
Bradley Moreland. Oh no, it's DNF. Maybe it was 26. Maybe it was backwards. No, I don't see a 26.
You're right. It is Bradley.
It says 62. For whatever reason, it says DNF on our card, but pretty sure he finished. So we might have to check that.
I don't know, because we had 2 riders who like disappeared. They never came through the finish line, and they never gave us like a high sign like I'm stopping.
Well, let's watch and see what happens at the end.
Yeah, so he started pulling and like bumped you guys way up. Like a hole was created, or a hole again. Not a hole. Yeah, because there goes Gilmore and Herdisky and Scott and Craig. Oh, well, there's Gilmore. Gilmore has a green suit. That's how I can only tell them apart when they're all in their kits.
Yeah, I remember after my pull, I look back and there's a little bit of a gap, and Bradley's coming. And so because there was a little bit of a gap, I tried to jump on his wheel, and then he started going hard. So I had just pulled, and then I was going hard to try to get back on his wheel. So I got tired again.
At this point, I don't know.
There's Chris Worley. He's in Brian Worley.
Brian Worley, yeah. So he caught up. So he was in the 3rd group, and then it took him about 3 laps or so to bridge the gap and catch up with you guys.
Okay.
So yeah, he caught up. Brian caught up with you guys because he was part of that last group that we ended up pulling that had James Felix and David Savage and Jason Ramshoot in it. So I don't know by this point how many laps you guys got to go.
And I think that's Pete Heitzman up there as well. I think he's back in our group now.
Yeah, he dropped from the first group back.
Yep.
It was like a slow drop back. I want to say it was about the same amount of laps as Borley.
He didn't just sit up like I did.
Yeah.
And join the second group.
Yeah, that's Pete. So yeah, you guys can tell like you're starting to slow, and I forget, was there on this stretch, we had a little bit of a breeze. Was it on this part?
Yeah, on this
part, was it a headwind?
On this stretch, we had a little bit of a tailwind.
Tailwind, okay.
And then you would hit the headwind on the backside.
So, I just saw it. You guys got 6 laps to go now.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah, I never. Still hammering it out though, man.
Yeah, I never like being on the back through the corners, just because then you get the accordion effect and you're surging all the time. I really like to go smooth through the corners, and that's the advantage of being on the front in these races. Is there's 2 corners in this course that require, some good cornering, and it's those 2 corners that if you're on the back, you're surging out of every single time. So if you're doing that the whole race, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, you're not being super efficient. But I think at this point I was just, not excited about pulling up to the front.
He was tired.
A little bit tired. And here's the guy with the, 2,000 watt legs.
Considering he had just done Hyde Park the day before, because most of these guys, I think only 1 or 2 of them had done Hyde Park.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them had done Madeira the night before, or the Friday night. So they had that Saturday as a race day, since this was a rest day, since this is on Sunday. Apparently all those R's found me up.
Okay, here we are about 9.3 miles.
total?
I think the total race was a little over 12 miles.
Yeah, so you guys got, I think you're
Few-
about
few more laps.
5 laps left to go. Yeah, you're pretty off the back now.
We're getting strung out a little
I
bit
think
there.
that was one of them that you looked at me and gave me the dog tired face, tongue sticking out, whole thing.
Well, a couple of times I was just doing that for fun.
No, this I
This
think this one was
one was
legit.
Well, here I am trying to close the gap again.
Yeah.
Not exactly my best race.
Yeah, it happens.
But it's all good. It was fun. It was fun getting out there. I'm looking forward to actually getting into more races now. Like, these guys reminded me that bike racing is hard and that I need to get back in shape.
I think our son could have told you that after his first race.
Yeah, that was one of his lessons too.
That was, yeah. That you can't just go in there and expect to win the whole thing, right?
Oh, I definitely didn't expect that.
Oh, no.
Although I didn't expect it to go off that hard in the beginning.
Yeah, man, you guys are just cranking it out here. You can definitely tell it's starting to get strong. Ow. About 3 laps to go. Gotta get off the back, man.
I know.
You're just hanging there in the back.
I hung out in the back
I know.
after that one pull and then the chuck on that guy's wheel. Yeah, after that I kind of hung out on the back. Just being a little lazy. Sorry guys for not pulling more.
I think they'll forgive you. They've watched you for the last 2 months in a boot.
on a knee scooter. Yeah.
On an e-scooter, yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're like out for a little while, but you're still able to be active. You're just not cycling. But man, when you're out and you're not putting any weight and you're immobilizing your leg, there is so much atrophy in my foot and ankle and calves. My calf looked ridiculous. So yeah, there's so much atrophy so quick, and you lose your aerobic fitness too. So it's like, whatever. I'm making up a bunch of excuses, but we'll get it back.
Oh, yeah. I guess in this too, being your first time and stuff, you're also learning tactics, right? Because you've done a couple crits. That was when we were in Virginia, and that was like giant fields, all these things.
Yeah, I did a lot more of the longer races, the longer like Fondo style races, and I got into gravel racing, which is something I like about Ohio, this area as well, is the Ohio gravel race series. I was planning on doing some of those early in the season. In fact, I was signed up for Baiting the Shark, and then I didn't get to ride in that, obviously, because of the foot injury. So yeah, it's a bummer. I missed out on most of the gravel races this year. I've missed out on all the big crit races. So I think what I'm gonna do is just finish out, like maybe go to Schoolyard Rumble next week, ride in the rest of our Orbital Crit series, and then I'm thinking about doing some of the cross races with Andrew, because
that kid's gonna have to start pumping iron then.
Yeah. I've had a lot of fun starting up the juniors program and getting those kids out there. We go on a group ride every weekend on Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. We've been ramping up the pace and the length of our rides every week, and the kids are doing really good. They're already talking about working as a team in some of these other races. They want to go do some some races other than Orbital Crit Series so that they can use these team tactics that we kind of been teaching them in those races. Let's see, what lap are we in? We're definitely not in the final lap. No, we're definitely not in the final lap.
But
yeah, I've actually never done cyclocross. I started out mountain biking, you know, when we were out in Albuquerque. That's where I started, and then eventually got into road biking when we lived in Virginia, and I could get to work faster on my bike than I could driving in the DC traffic. And then I found a local club that met, you know, like a block, you know, basically a mile away from where we lived, and just fell in love with the whole group riding and riding in a club and stuff like that, and doing big events together. It's a lot of fun. So
yeah, so you guys are coming up here. I don't think that was the final lap.
That's Gilmore right there, and then it looks like Heisman might be on the front, and Chris Worley is right in front of me.
Yeah.
And then that's John Herdisky on the left here.
Brian Worley, not Chris.
I'm sorry, I had a buddy named Chris Worley. I apologize. I keep calling Brian Chris.
Sorry, someone called you John the other day, or Joe, or I don't remember.
So let's see.
So yeah, this isn't the final lap. I don't think so. I think this is probably like the bell's about to ring.
Yeah, and the reason why we don't know is because we lost our metrics as we're recording this, unfortunately. Let's see if we can see. I think it was one of the juniors that was ringing the bell on this one.
The kids ring the bell.
So let's see if we see him.
Been a bad idea.
No, it's fine. Are we getting any bell ringing?
Yep, there you go.
Yep, I think this is the last lap. Here we go. See how this plays out.
See if you can put the pedal to the road. What do you say for cycling?
No, I already put the pedal to the road, and I don't ever want to do that again.
That's not something you want to hear later as you come off the course and go, oh, I almost crashed.
So, I definitely talk about this in a minute, but I definitely learned a lesson on this last lap.
Yeah, so now, I mean, you guys are ramping up, and this is one of those where it's like the strategic placing that you're trying to get
and I'm
in the right spot.
I am definitely in the wrong spot. That's for sure.
Well,
my goal was to well, we'll see here in a minute. My goal was to come around towards the end. It would have been kind of bad because I didn't pull at all, hardly, if I had come around and out sprinted everybody, but I was too tired. I knew I wasn't going to do anything.
I mean, you're already
here
seeing the sprint starting
people are
to take
trying
off.
people are trying to get in good position. What surprised me is how early the sprint started. I thought we were going to come around the final corner.
There goes Gilmore.
There's Gilmore. He was in a perfect position.
Gilmore, and I think that's Pete.
That's Pete, yep.
And that's Scott Druppin,
Worley,
and then
Brian Worley.
Brian
second.
Worley and Craig Thompson. I mean,
third.
they just put the hammer down and went flying.
I'll say Mark Gilmore played that perfectly.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he did.
He got in on the inside track, third. I think
he was third wheel.
Roughly third wheel.
Yep.
And then he kind of surprised everyone with that sprint, and he opened up a gap, and he just maintained it. So
yeah, he did.
Nice job, Mark. I learned from that. So.
Learned to be third wheel.
Well, I learned both the positioning and the timing and all that stuff. So, we'll see what happens next time. But that was really well played by Mark. He had really good positioning. He played it smart, and he won the group sprint, the bunch sprint for the second group. So it wasn't for a podium or anything like that. In fact,
he got a podium for his category.
I think he got a podium for his age.
Because he's 60 plus. He's our master 60 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys make me feel
inadequate.
Pretty bad. these guys 60 plus, and I'm out there getting beat. So
It's okay.
anyways, well,
I couldn't even make it a lap around. So.
well done, guys. It was fun getting out there for the first time racing. We're hoping to do more of these videos. The plan is to hand off the GoPro to various people throughout the series.
Because we got some awesome racers.
Yeah, we got some really strong racers. I think, you know, we'll hand off the GoPro, and the plan is hopefully to get whoever carries the camera. We'd like to have you guys over and have you as part of the commentary, so that you can be here kind of walking us through what you're seeing from your vantage point. So,
and your tactics. I mean, we've got some guys who are, you know, world ranked riders and different things. And so, I mean, we've got a great, what would you call it? A great collection of racers who come and participate.
Mike Griner's one of those guys who had never raced a crit series before, had never raced in a criterium, but he rides on Zwift all the time, and he's actually part of the OMG team, I believe it's called, which just won the World Time Trial Championship, and he's on that team. So he comes out for our very first race, rides in 4.5, and just laps everybody a bunch of times, like super strong.
Sean Martin, who won this race that you were in, is a national ranked time trialist.
Yeah, and you can tell because that's exactly what he did. He just time trialed off the front.
I do have to say, at this part here, you pull off to me, and your first words, which are not great words to say to a race director, were call 911, I'm done.
I'm dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Because we had a crash at our very first race, and someone came through and said, call 911, we had a crash.
Yeah.
So that immediately gave me an adrenaline rush, so don't do that to a race director unless there's been a crash.
Yeah, I'll try to avoid that next time.
Yeah, let's not. So.
Okay guys, well thanks for watching. This was our first video ever, so you know, it might not be the greatest, but you know, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll continue to do this, continue to get better. We'll have some other people on here that should make it more interesting. So, and just thank you to all the guys who are out there who ride in the
race.
Yeah, who ride in the Orbital Crit series. Thank you guys.
Man, they make it fun for us to watch.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, it's such a blast. Love it, every minute of it. We go home dog tired, but crazy adrenaline. We talk about the races for the next 3 days and stuff. So we love it. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.